Okay, let's dive right in. This deep dive, well, it's crafted just for you, using this really interesting stack of sources you provided. They're all kind of zeroing in on one specific day, May 31, 2025.
And a lot of this material comes from Tarot by High C,
Mhm.
specifically parts of their Shine On, Astrology, Tarot, and Story for 31 May 2025.
Mhm.
It's quite a mix, astrology, tarot, and this narrative element too.
Exactly. And what we want to do here is really unpack what these sources are telling us about finding that sweet spot where your inner self aligns with what's going on outside.
Yeah, and tackling things like self-doubt, stepping into authentic expression,
Mm.
finding joy and creativity, especially for this particular day.
Right. So the plan is we'll follow the path laid out in the sources. We'll
Right.
start with the astrology, then look at the tarot card they pulled.
And then dive into that story, which really brings it all to life. The goal is to pull out the key takeaways so you can, well, shine your brightest.
Okay, sounds good. So astrology first. What's the basic energy painted for May 31st, 2025?
The big message right off the bat is harmony. The day's energy really supports this alignment between your inner world, your feelings, and the outer world, how you act. Like there's an ease there.
An ease. I like that. And the source adds this interesting idea that having fun isn't just like downtime. It can actually help you find answers. Huh.
Exactly. That maybe those spontaneous, even kind of silly ideas that pop up, they might actually be tapping into something deeper, some bigger concerns.
So it's okay to not be serious all the time to figure things out.
Right. The alignment suggests that when you're genuinely joyful and authentic, your own wisdom can kind of bubble up in surprising ways.
And there's a clear invitation with this energy, isn't there? The source basically says, step into the limelight.
Uh-huh. Embrace your authentic self, let your joy, your creativity flow. It uses the phrase, come out to play.
Come out to play through spontaneous stuff, leading with your heart, even just unabashed self-love.
But, and this is important, the source stresses it's not about performing for applause.
Ah, okay. So it's real expression, not faking it for validation.
Precisely. It's about doing it because it feels true to you. Applause is nice, sure, but the authenticity is the real goal here.
It really sounds like permission to just sparkle, and the source mentions specific astrological alignments behind this.
Yes, it does. So in the morning, there's the Leo moon making a sextile to the sun. A sextile is like an opportunity, an easy flow.
Okay.
And you've got the moon, that's your emotions, your inner self, and the sun, your core identity, your vitality,
Hmm.
both in Leo, which is all about expression, heart, confidence.
So they're working together smoothly. Inner feeling matches outer identity.
Exactly. Harmonizing your core self with how you feel inside.
And then midday, another sextile, the Leo moon with Mercury.
Right. And Mercury is all about communication, the mind. So this moon-Mercury sextile, again in Leo, means your heart and head are connecting really well.
Ah, so it's easier to talk about how you feel, express your thoughts warmly.
Yes, open, energized communication. Speaking your truth becomes more natural.
So morning's about feeling aligned, midday's about expressing it. And the source says carry that into the afternoon. Talk things through, share passions, maybe even brag a little.
Yeah, but with humor and enthusiasm. It circles back to that key point, though. The astrology section ends with, applause is nice, but authenticity is better.
Okay. That paints a really positive, open picture. But, life isn't always smooth sailing. Sometimes that sparkle feels, well, dimmed. Which leads us perfectly to the TarotScope part from Tarot by High C.
Yes, the card they pull for the day is the Queen of Wands reversed.
The Queen of Wands.
Yeah,
She's normally all vibrant confidence and creativity, right?
exactly. Fire, charisma, leadership.
Yeah.
So when she shows up reversed, the source interprets it as maybe that inner fire is turned down a bit or sputtering.
Okay, so it's asking you to look inward, see what's dampening the flames.
Precisely. Check in on what might be dulling your confidence, your natural charisma.
And the source highlights specific things this could look like second-guessing yourself. Uh-huh. Or feeling withdrawn, maybe holding back when you'd usually step up, that voice of self-doubt creeping in.
Or keeping ideas to yourself out of what? Fear of judgment or not feeling seen.
Yeah, that fear of judgment or not being appreciated looms large with this card, according to the source.
And there's a warning, too, about moodiness or a quick temper.
Right. The source connects that to unexpressed frustration, like that fiery wand's energy getting blocked and then, well, bursting out sideways.
Makes sense. So what's the guidance?
A lot of it focuses on boundaries, like noticing when you're tempted to shrink yourself or conversely overextend just to please others.
Instead of just owning your space.
Exactly. Honor your boundaries, own your presence. Don't just bend to fit in or get approval.
And what about if you're feeling creatively blocked?
The source is quite reassuring there. It says it's temporary. Don't try to force it.
Just step back. Nurture yourself.
Yes. Tend to yourself. Nurture your creativity gently. The idea is the ember is still there. It just needs some care.
That's helpful. And there's an affirmation with the card, too. There is, and it's really lovely. Your light isn't lost, it's resting. Reignite it gently. Confidence built in silence can be even stronger when you step forward again.
Confidence built in silence. I like that. It suggests that pulling back isn't failure. It's potentially strengthening.
Exactly. A quiet rebuild before you step forward again, authentically.
So we've got this astrological push for authentic expression and then this tarot prompt to look at what's holding us back internally. How does this actually play out? That's where the Shine On story comes in, right?
Yes, and the story features the New Directions crew, which, I mean, with names like Mr. Shu, Rachel, Santana, it pretty clearly sets us in the world of Glee, McKinley High.
Right. The Glee Club. Perfect setting for themes of performance, self-doubt, and finding your voice. So how does the story start?
It kicks off with Mr. Shu giving him a really unusual assignment. He tells them, forget the grades, forget competitions, just pick a song that makes you feel unstoppable, purely for yourself.
Huh. I can imagine the reaction. Confusion.
Definitely. Especially from Rachel, always focused on the goal, the Broadway dream. She's like, but what's the purpose?
And what does Santana say? I bet she had a zinger.
She did. Classic Santana. She fires back, maybe to stop taking herself so seriously for 5 seconds, Barry. Cuts right through it.
Perfect. So that sets up the central conflict, performing for goals versus finding joy within.
And the story then shows these little moments of spontaneous joy breaking out around the school. Like Tina, who often feels overlooked.
Yeah.
She's found singing her heart out in the costume closet, trying on silly hats, just lost in the moment.
Nice. And Artie.
Artie's choreographing this amazing impromptu wheelchair dance with Brittany right in the hallway, no audience needed, just pure creative expression.
Love it. And wasn't there a cafeteria scene?
Yes. Sam just starts strumming Walking on Sunshine on his ukulele.
Oh, yeah.
And it turns into this massive, infectious flash mob, people just joining in. It shows how that real joy can just spread, no stage required.
But it wasn't easy for everyone, right? Kurt struggles.
Right. Kurt gets stuck. He's so focused on perfection, on making a statement, that he loses the fun, loses his spark. He's missing the point of the exercise.
And Blaine gives him some advice.
Simple but powerful advice. Blaine just tells him, you don't need a standing ovation every time you open your mouth. You just need to have fun.
Wow, that directly echoes the astrology, doesn't it? Fun is the pathway.
It really does. And of course, you can't have Glee without
Coach Sue Sylvester.
Exactly. She pops up with this hilarious over-the-top monologue about how joy threatens productivity, and she has this plan to stamp out all spontaneous dancing.
Which probably backfires spectacularly.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
But it sets up this really pivotal moment for the kids. They all gather, and they start getting real vulnerable.
Sharing their fears.
Yeah. Mercedes admits she scared people only like her voice, not her. Artie worries his ideas aren't cool enough. Tina talks about feeling invisible, all that stuff the Queen of Wands reversed hinted at.
And talking about it helps them realize something.
They realize their best moments, their truly powerful moments, happen when they stop chasing the applause and just let themselves be together.
That's huge. How does that realization manifest?
It leads to this incredibly moving scene. Mercedes just starts singing Born This Way, quietly at first.
Wow.
And then one by one, the others join in, each taking a verse, harmonizing. The source describes it as pure, vulnerable, not a performance, but a genuine sharing.
That sounds amazing. And does that change things for them?
It gives them courage. They decide right then and there to ditch their planned set list for the upcoming Friday performance.
Really? What do they do instead?
They decide to just freestyle it. Let the energy of the moment guide them. Pure, authentic expression.
Okay, so how does the final performance go? The source describes it.
Oh, yeah. It's a rousing version of Raise Your Glass.
Oh.
It's described as joyful, unapologetic, totally authentic. You get details like Kurt strutting in sequence, fully himself, Brittany just busting out some breakdancing moves, and yes, Coach Sue tries to shut it down.
And fit.
And hilariously gets caught up in the energy and accidentally starts dancing herself.
That's brilliant, the power of authentic joy.
Exactly. And the story doesn't end there. It finishes with them all just sitting outside under the stars later that night.
No stage, no audience.
Nope, just talking, laughing, bragging about silly talents. The source makes a point. No grades, no competitions, just hearts on sleeves.
Wow. And Rachel, does she get it by the end?
She does. She has this final line, something like, I hope we remember this. Life's too short to dull our sparkle. Turns out we don't need a spotlight to shine just each other.
Ah, that really ties it all together, doesn't it? The story shows that journey from the potential blocks the tarot warned about.
To that authentic, joyful expression the astrology encouraged. And it highlights how connection, like Rachel said, just each other, is key.
Yeah. So, bringing it all together, the astrology for May 31st gives us this potential for alignment where being spontaneous and joyful actually helps us connect with deeper truths.
And the tarot, the Queen of Wands reversed, serves as that internal check-in. It asks you to look honestly at self-doubt, at fear, the things dimming your light.
And reminds you to reignite that fire gently, maybe even finding strength in the quiet moments.
Then the story just shows it all in action. We see the characters face those fears, like Mercedes or Artie,
Find real joy in just being themselves together, like with Born This Way.
and discover that their true power to shine comes from inside. And it's amplified when they connect authentically, not when they're chasing validation, like the final performance or just sitting under the stars.
It's a really strong confirmation from these sources that your ability to shine, your sparkle, it isn't really about external validation at all.
No, it's about letting your true self be seen simply and honestly.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive for May 31st, 2025. The core takeaways seem pretty clear. First, trust that harmony between your inner feelings and outer actions.
Uh-huh. And be honest about the fears or doubts that might hold you back, that Queen of Wands reverse stuff. Tend to that inner spark gently.
Find joy in expressing yourself just because it feels good, not because you expect applause. Remember that authenticity bit.
And don't underestimate the power of connection. Being around people who see and appreciate the real you, that's incredibly strengthening. It helps you shine.
Your sparkle is internal. It doesn't need a spotlight to be real.
Exactly. Sometimes the most powerful way to shine is just being you,
Yeah.
openly, joyfully, especially with others who get it.
Okay, and one last thing to leave you with, drawn right from the sources. Think about that moment in the story with Coach Sue.
Ah, yes, the ultimate anti-joy figure.
Right. Even she couldn't totally resist that authentic, joyful energy from the kids. She got pulled in, started dancing despite herself.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you about the real power, the infectiousness of letting your authentic light shine, even when you think it won't be welcomed? How might embracing your own inner sparkle, without apology, maybe, subtly shift the Coach Sue's in your own life or environment? Something to think about.